Welcome to Money Mastery with Marshy. This podcast is for you if you're someone who wants to develop the mindset, the skill set, and the character attributes needed to grow yourself, grow your wealth, and ultimately master your money. I look forward to going on this journey with you. Let's get into the episode. Welcome back to Money Mastery with Marshy. This is your host, Daniel Marshall. And in today's episode of the podcast, I am joined by Paul Rogers, who is the trading coach. He's the business prophet. He's the author of many books, which I've got a few in front of me, and I've read a couple of these. Profit in Your Pocket, which is great for tradies. Get Off the Tools, great for tradies. And a whole series on the King's Path, which is a bit of a new venture, which we might dive into later in this conversation. And this interview today, this conversation is long overdue. We've been talking about it for probably 12 months now, haven't we, Paul?
Yeah.
But it's really great to actually have you here because we've actually known each other for quite a few years virtually through the Coaching Institute. And it's just been this last 12 months where we've got to build a relationship face to face. And now here we are finally having this conversation.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So let's talk about that first, Paul, because we both studied and have been a part of the Coaching Institute. And when did you start? How long ago was that?
So I joined TCI, the Coaching Institute, back in 2017.
So I'm just trying to think. So I was June 2019. So you've been, what's that? That must be 9 years ago.
Yeah. 9 years. Still going.
Almost a decade. And so you're still with the Coaching Institute?
Yeah, still as a student, but I'm also part of the faculty now. So I do business mentoring for the new coaches coming through. And I'm also starting to do facilitation with their webinars as well now.
Nice. How's that been? Because obviously being a student all those years and still being a student to this day, because you never stopped being a student, really.
Yeah, exactly. I was there last week actually doing the advanced training.
In Melbourne?
Yeah.
What was that training?
So it's a new one called Meta Dynamics Meta 4, which is all about facilitation and pitching and selling from stage. So taking my speaking skills to another level.
I love that. Actually, that was one of my favorite things about the school was that they didn't just teach you how to be a great coach. They taught you the business skills, the marketing, but also how to facilitate, sell from stage and speak. It's such a great skill set, and not many other institutions will teach you that type of skill set.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, just from that training you did last week, what was your biggest insight or takeaway or thing that you're wanting to bring into your business?
Right. It's a really, really good question actually, because for quite a few years, I mean, I've been coaching now full time for, as you said, 9 years. And the one thing I haven't been doing is webinars and actually getting out there doing more group work. It's always been for me one-on-one work with clients, and most of those clients have come organic through referrals, word of mouth. So I realised that to grow my business, I need to do more work on stage.
Yeah. Okay. So you're moving from that one-to-one model more to groups and that scale.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Has that been a daunting thing to do?
Huge. Yeah. There's two trainings that the Coaching Institute do, or Meta 3, which is really about that facilitator trainer type training, and then Meta 4, which is the advanced one. I took Meta 3 off 3 times because to me, to be honest, I was scared. It's scared of actually standing up and talking to people on stage in front of other people.
Yeah. And so it actually surprised me about you, Paul, because I thought you had already been doing group work, and because you've been part of BNI, one of the biggest chapters in Australia, speaking in front of people every week, that actually quite surprised me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think even now, like I've been in business for 30 odd years, I'd still get sometimes those feelings in your pit of your stomach around, am I good enough? Do I know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And that self-doubt. And at the end of the day, really, there was, like everything, it feels uncomfortable, but to be able to grow, you need to get outside your comfort zone. And it's the only way to actually to move forward.
Yeah.
I always knew it would be something I would do, because to be able to serve and to have the impact I want, I need to be able to work with more people and get in touch with more people. You can't do that through just one-on-one work.
Yes.
So I knew it had to happen.
Yeah.
Probably just took a bit longer than it should have done.
Yeah. Well, better late than never.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I agree, because that Meta 3, back when I did that training at the Coaching Institute, I feel like that was such a growth event for me. It was such a massive 5-day training, and it's a big one, but you definitely evolve through it, and it's really
100%.
once you get through it. That's why actually I've got my Meta 3 certificate.
Oh,
It's one of the
yeah.
things I'm really proud of achieving, because it was a big pivotal moment in my journey, and facilitation was always something I wanted to do. So I'm with you on that.
And to be honest, I've seen your transformation over the last few years. Your speaking skills are insane, especially when you came into being our Advantage, 12 months or so, 18 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I guess I've got the Coaching Institute and then that Meta 3 to thank, and then Toastmasters as well. That was really pivotal as a good stepping stone into the BNI journey.
Yeah. I'd recommend Toastmasters to everyone as well. I went through that process as well.
I didn't know you'd done Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Are you still involved as well?
No. It's, I sort of stopped doing that a few years ago. I think pre-COVID, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sadie Coach, working with Sadies and finances and their business. I'm really curious to know, what's the backstory? How did you actually get to this point where you were helping trades with their business, with their finances, and where did that all start?
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting story. So I'm an electrician by trade. I left school at 16, hated school, went into an apprenticeship as a maintenance electrician.
Yeah.
Did that for 8 years.
Was it residential, commercial?
It was basically industrial. So I was working for a furniture company, and we did all of their maintenance. So I was doing plumbing, electrical, everything in the UK. Did that for 8 years. To be honest, I wasn't a good electrician, good trading. It wasn't for me, but it certainly taught me a lot. Taught me a lot around how I learn and how traders in particular learn. And then I transitioned into telecommunications.
I'm curious, just before you go into that, with the electrical side, did you from day dot know that you weren't quite inclined that way, or did it take experience?
I loved what I did, especially the maintenance work, but that's my wife. I'm not particularly probably the tidiest of people. Where you see trades in particular, like really precise with how things look. I wasn't that great.
Okay.
Yeah, and I probably gave myself a few too many electric shocks over the years.
Okay. So technically not so good with the trade.
Yeah.
But what was the bit that got you by?
I loved the variety of the work that I was doing. I loved the camaraderie with the team that I worked with. And I think to some extent, not the power, but how you were perceived for me in that industrial environments, that people respected you because, like, if they wanted something fixing, you were the ones who were doing it. So
it is such a valuable skill. All of the trades, particularly in these day and age. Doing trades are in demand, and need those hard skills.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap really at the moment, because a lot of people, I think, went to university for a while there. I think now trade's probably a better starting point for a lot of people, to be honest.
And you can make actually so much more money as a tradie compared to. And I'm not knocking lawyers or any of the ones that go to university. I've been to university since then, which is another story which we might get to later. But you can do a 4-year trade and build up through working for someone else to start your own business, and you can have $1 million business, which lawyers will struggle just because of the structure around a lawyer and creating a business for yourself. So
there's always a lot of demand for industrial and electrical and trade type work, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's not going to be taken over by AI. So where other industries are probably going to get swallowed up in some way or other.
Was there a part, because you were in the electrical trade for 8 years, you said, was there a part where you were thinking of potentially starting your own electrical business? Or
no, I think for me back then, I always knew that I wanted to start a business, but never knew what. But trade didn't seem like it was a good fit for me at that time, so it really didn't sort of come into my thinking around when I was looking to what's next.
It's interesting though, because now doing work with the tradies, there's, obviously some breadcrumbs from the past that reveal what you can't do, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, probably that's where the story sort of changes slightly. And I mean, if it wasn't for what I did, that basically my life would definitely look differently. Because after the trade, I had the fortune to be able to get a job with AT&T, the biggest American telephony company in the world.
Yeah.
And see a lot of the world. So I spent 3 years in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, doing project management and system testing with computer systems and software that was coming into the country. And that's where I met my wife. So it's
over in the Middle East.
Yeah. So Georgie was nursing over there. So she's Australian. I'm English. If we sort of covered that earlier.
It's a bit of accent still.
And we actually met in the middle of the desert on Valentine's Day.
On a camel?
No. It was an illegal party that's over in the Middle East, especially in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s. Single women couldn't mix with single guys.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a completely restricted country. So what would happen with the expat community would organise these sort of campouts where they'd have music and food and some illegal alcohol. It's because there's no alcohol in Saudi Arabia. And so, we'd all catch up and you'd see this line of four-wheel drives heading out to the desert. So it wasn't obvious. It's miles of four-wheel drives. And we were actually queuing up to get some food. And I said to my best mate, who was also working with me, I just saw Georgie in the line and think, wow. And I said to them, well, that's the girl I'm going to marry. So I knew from day one. From the first time I saw her, even before I spoke to her.
Really?
That she was the one.
And did you go up through that line and say something, or was this later on where you approached?
Yeah, no. We spoke from there. We basically chatted, talked all night until the early morning. And
so you kind of hit it off straight away.
Just grew from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were into her, she was into you, and it all.
I think there was a bit of apprehension on her side initially, but over time I won her over.
Yeah.
And she left Saudi Arabia after her first year because it's not a great place for women. It's really not. So I followed her here to Australia to catch up and proposed and went from there.
So that's the reason why you're in Australia, because of her?
Absolutely. Well, we're in Australia. It didn't happen straight away. We basically, after I proposed and we got married on the winery.
Which winery?
Fox Creek Wines. So that's
Fox Creek Wines. That's down at McLaren Vale.
Yes.
Now, I was stalking your LinkedIn before this as well, so I didn't realise that you worked at Fox Creek Wines for many years.
17 years. Yeah.
CEO at one stage.
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife's family started Fox Creek from scratch in 1995. So I joined a few years later. So Georgie's dad was a very acclaimed surgeon. Started basically it was the professor of surgery at Flinders University and Flinders Public Hospital when it was first created. So so have a distinguished medical career. And his wife Helen, she basically started and she was a nurse as well as Georgie was, and she started the volunteer service in Flinders Public, which is a huge part of how the Flinders Public is run.
Wow.
But Jim Watts, professor of surgery, he had an aneurysm which stopped him from surgery, and basically then was into wine and garden centres, and decided to start a wine company in Vineyard.
Wow. Yeah. And it's still here to this day, still running.
Unfortunately, the brand is, but unfortunately, the family sold the wine company a couple of years ago, and it's went into administration, unfortunately, after that.
So I can't go visit it now?
Not as is, but it has been bought, the brands and has been bought by Maxwell's in McLaren Vale, another long-time family business. So it still lives on with them, which is great. It's good to see the brand still there.
I was going to say, there we go, we've got something in common, because I also got married in McLaren Vale.
Oh, okay.
At White Hill Estate.
Right.
Next session at the Beach Road Wines next door.
Yes, yeah.
So where was Fox Creek Wines in relation to that?
Yeah, so Fox Creek was between McLaren Vale and Wollonga on Malpass Road.
Right.
Yeah, so just in between the two there.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother-in-law still lives there at the moment.
Yeah.
She's 91. We've got a long-term lease for her for a house which she'd lived in for over 40 years now. She really doesn't want to leave unless she's carried out in the box. So
Yeah.
got a couple more years to go, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, okay. Well, with Fox Creek Wines, was that your first job coming into Australia?
Yeah, so from AT&T, I got headhunted to work for Hewlett Packard, and so I spent 3 years with them.
So what do they do, Hewlett Packard?
So Hewlett Packard is predominantly a computer and printing company, but they have a consulting company as well, HP Consulting. So I looked after their telecommunications for Central and Eastern Europe. I had 21 countries that reported to me for telecoms.
So you're quite the international man.
Yeah, so this is where a lot of my travel bug comes from. So I spent, for 3 years, I spent Monday to Friday traveling around the world.
Wow.
Coming home on weekends. So either Georgie so we were based out of the UK. Georgie would either fly out to me or I'd come back to the UK. So we spend a lot of time in some beautiful countries. So
I've got to ask, what's your top 3 favourite places around the world you've been to?
Probably the ones I spent the most time in. So I lived in Moscow for 6 months.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Moscow.
Russian people have gone through a lot, and so I was there through the Chechen bombings, if you can remember that back in the late 90s. But the people are just amazing people.
Yeah,
they're just really the heart of gold.
That's what I heard too. Because recently, one of my clients lives in Dubai. He was visiting Moscow, and he spoke so highly of it. I felt there's almost this perception that Russian people aren't very kind, but he said the total opposite. They were very kind and warm people.
Exactly. They would basically welcome you into their houses. They would share everything they have. And a lot of them back then, really before had change of currencies, they didn't have much. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be probably number one.
Yeah.
I spent 6 months in Athens, which is another amazing place, and got to go back there this year.
So Athens, because I've been to Athens. When I went to Athens, it had some cool stuff, but there was so much like scaffold and graffiti. I don't know, there was just this feel for it. It looked a bit run down when I was there back in 2015.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe that was just the parts I saw. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I was in there in 98, which was, they were just starting to prepare for the Olympics. So there was a lot of work going on with their underground system. But again, great people, again, very hospitable.
Great food.
I'm not quite sure about their work ethic sometimes. They definitely like to party late, and work is sort of optional.
That's the thing in Europe. A lot of places, they eat dinner really late, and I'm usually in bed by the time these people are starting to eat dinner. It's just a different type of lifestyle, isn't it, over there?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And the third place, I probably struggle a little bit between Budapest and Prague, because I spent a lot of time. They're very close together.
Yeah.
The people, again, are very, very hospitable as well, and there's just some great history, traditions.
Yeah, I haven't been to Prague yet. I did go to Budapest, and it was really cool, like how one part of it was called Buda, and then on the other side of the river was the pest. I really enjoyed that part of Europe.
Yeah. There
you go. Yeah, I didn't realise you were such the international man.
Yeah, and I spend a lot of time traveling now. It's part of the lifestyle that we created, and there's still lots of places to see and do. So.
How do you feel being so internationally experienced, and you've experienced different cultures? How has that helped you in business?
I think with everything else I've done, it just gives me a nice rounding, both with the careers and roles I've had, as well as, especially for when I was working with Fox Creek, working with diverse cultures. So basically, we always said that we'd bring up kids in Australia. I don't want to bring them up through the English school system. For me personally, I found the school system it didn't work for me. it was very much you would do it this way and that was it.
Yeah.
School systems have changed a lot, but I think it was still a lot of changes, like teaching algebra and stuff that really isn't going to be used is pointless. I got really disheartened through the school system, and it put me off education altogether for quite a while.
Yeah.
Where I think, and also basically, I find people in Australia a lot more open and friendly. There's still a lot of people in England that, I think because of the weather, they're not quite so friendly. And there's also a big push against people coming into the country and taking jobs. Where obviously Australia, it's a country built on diverse cultures coming in. And I always remember the first time coming to Australia and walking into, I think it was a newsagent, and just the friendliness and the way people spoke to you, and they wanted to help. I think we've lost that a little bit over the last few years, but I think and also from a business side, I think this is a great place to build a business.
Okay, interesting. There you go. I quite often hear, I guess, when people compare maybe UK to USA, where I guess UK is quite pessimistic and kind of, sometimes there's that tall poppy syndrome.
Yes,
versus America, where everyone's a bit more optimistic and really supporting each other and helping them grow. If you start a business.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So once we decided to come here, so I got a transfer with HP, which was great. Moved to Sydney, and I was looking after Vodafone as a principal consultant for HP still. But within 3 months, to be honest, like Sydney's great, but it wasn't for me. Even though I'd worked in some big cities around the world, it just didn't quite feel right. I was from a small sort of village back in the UK.
So you're more of a country boy.
Yeah, at heart, 100%. Where every time I come back to Adelaide and McLaren Vale in particular, it just has that nicer feel. I think the people in Adelaide, and we always get sort of taunted a little bit as being going back in time with coming to Adelaide, but I think that's changing. But I just feel the community side of Adelaide's better.
Yeah.
So within 3 months of being in Sydney, the family actually asked me to come and run the business back in McLaren Vale, Foss Creek.
So straight away you were on the operations running the business.
Well, I spent initially the plan was to spend a couple of years working with Jim. Jim was running the business back then, to understand the business, because I had no idea about wine. I was a beer guy. Never drank wine before in my life, and all of a sudden they want me to run a wine business. Probably a good idea to learn a bit about wine first and about the industry. And so I spent, in the end, it was probably closer to 3 years under Jim's stewardship, which was amazing. So such an amazing person. I've been lucky that I've had 2 really key mentors in my life that have been true leaders, which I feel very fortunate to have. And then over the next 14 years, I got to do every role within the business. Back when I first started, it was quite a small business. There was four of us working out of a small college. And over that 17 years, we built a winery and 30-odd staff, 26 countries around the world, $1 million business. So,
wow.
And with quite a good reputation for quality and innovative ideas as well. So,
are you a wine drinker these days?
After 17 years, I've got quite a big stash of wine. My wife worked in the business for about 10 years as well. So, we've got a fair bit of wine in our cellar. So,
What are the key principles in the wine business?
Well, to be honest, most of the key principles are the same for any business, and that's probably one of the things I've learned over the years is that scale is when the only thing that really changes. There's definitely some nuances around finance because of the long time it takes to get a product to market and over multiple years. So that does change sort of how you cost products. And it's a tough industry. It really is, considering sort of what has to go in.
But why is it tough?
Well, one of the sayings in the wine industry is to make a small fortune in the wine industry, you need to start with a large fortune because it is very intensive.
So capital intensive.
Yeah. And the wine facility that we built cost $3.5 million.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can imagine that takes a fair lot of wine to be sold to actually recoup that cost.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the vineyards are the same. You've got vineyards that take typically 4 years to start producing grapes. And it's very much dependent on the weather.
So is it quite similar to farming in a way?
It is, yeah. Especially on the vineyard side of things, because but every year is different. Crop sizes, quality of crop as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different things that go into that. Yeah.
And from your vast experience in that industry, what's the most important thing to have a successful wine business?
Marketing, 100%
marketing.
Yeah. Because you can have the best wine in the world, and it's very subjective. So 2 bottles of wine, one price at say $10, compared to one price at $200. It's the same product. Made pretty much the same way. There might be some different ways with a $10.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're still an alcoholic drink.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it reminds me of when I started my coaching, doing it at Coach Institute. They always say you can be the best coach in the world, but if no one knows about you, if you can't market yourself, then you're not going to have a business.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why. So I had the opportunity for personal development while working for the wine company, and rather than an MBA, I did a master's in marketing.
Is that right?
So yes.
Was that out of your own, like you kind of chose to do that, or did they encourage you to do it?
They encouraged it. So I had a great mentor who was chairman of our board. So we had an external board as well as internal family members. And he recommended that I go down the marketing rather than business.
Okay. I'm curious to know, because you're obviously into business, but you're very much into personal development as well. When did the personal development start side for you? Was it when you started the marketing degree?
Literally from when I was about 15.
Yeah.
And all I ever read was self-help and business books.
Really? So, okay. Yeah. So ever since very, very young.
I think I've read, apart from school, the ones I had to read, I've probably read 2 novels in my life.
So
I'm not wide that way. I'm not,
I'm the same as you, Paul. There's probably maybe 2 fiction ones I've read in my life.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm really curious to know what's been the most, I mean, I'm a book geek, clearly.
Yeah.
What's been the most impactful book, or the book that really changed the game for you?
There's been so many. The one that really stands out for me, and I go back and I've read it 5 or 6 times, is Start With Why, Simon Sinek.
Great one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I've got a few that I've read multiple times. And 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma is another one.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much from the content, but the story.
Yeah, it's a good story, that one.
Yeah, and the way that he uses a story, a fable, like Patrick Lencioni with, I can't think of the name of the book, but again, uses fables to talk about.
Kind of like The Richest Man in Babylon.
Just ways to talk about a story to instill disciplines, which is how I sort of written some of the new books.
Yeah.
It's quite different. But,
what was it about Start With Why that really grabbed you?
I think just the thinking around how to think about sales and what you do. It's not about what you sell, it's how you make people feel. That's really probably the key, because, and again, people don't buy from business, they buy from people. It's how, and we've spoken about this before, it's, you can have the best product or service offering, but if you're not looking after the person and the experience they have, there's can be all those ways that they can have a negative experience.
Yeah, okay. That's a great one. Such a good book. I remember I first read Start With Why before I was even in business.
Yep.
I enjoyed it, but I couldn't truly appreciate. I reread it, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
And I had a whole new appreciation for it now that I'd been in business for 5 or 6 years or however long it had been. So it's such a good one. Every time you read it, you learn something new. And it just reminds you, because sometimes you can get stuck in the what and the how.
Yes.
And sometimes you just got to bring it back to the why.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this and whatnot?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us then, so from Fox Creek Wines, how did the coaching journey then start? Because again, there's still trying to connect these dots.
So I spent 17 years in the winery and went through a lot of challenges through that time with the start of GST, global financial crisis. There's quite a few challenges, and those challenges, I think, to some extent, I rose to the challenge. So it was something new, because I think we can get a little bit bored or stale when we're doing something for such a long time. Yeah. And we had some changes. I was looking to potentially do some more work around luxury goods, which was an interest I had, again, from a marketing perspective, so how something is perceived of more value based on the brand. But back in 2016, remember it really vividly. I was over in Germany doing some promotion over there. I got to travel again a lot with the wine company, because I used to look after all the export sales. Yeah. Spent a lot of time in Russia. I actually got to spend pretty much across the whole of Russia rather than just Moscow. Really? So I'd travel at least 3 or 4 times a year with the business then. And I was in Germany, and I got this phone call. And it was from the wife of my mentor I used to work with, both at AT&T and Hewlett-Packard. And he was like me. He'd travel Monday to Friday. He was an amazing leader. I was fortunate to have 2 leaders that were true leaders that inspired people to work for them, not the normal sort of carrot and stick type business leader. And so he traveled basically Monday to Friday, the same as me. He was older than me, and he said that when he retired, he wanted to spend more time with his family and travel more. Okay. And he retired in late 2015, early 2016, and within 3 months he got cancer and died within another 3 months after that.
Really?
And I think part of it was stress from the business. I think as business owners or business leaders, we take a lot on ourselves, and as men particularly, we hold stress emotions inside. Yes. We don't tend to let them out.
Yes.
And that for me was the tipping edge. I was in the middle of an airport, and I missed my flight because I read the boarding card wrongly, and I just burst into tears. And realised that, okay, time for change.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, because I always wanted to run my own business. And I knew deep down that that's what I was meant to do. But I thought, maybe I'll do some consulting when I'm sort of semi-retirement. And I realized that, no, I actually need to take action and do it now. Don't wait. He waited till he retired to have the life that he wanted. And he didn't get to do that. So I thought, nah.
So that was the wake-up call.
Yeah. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it now.
Yeah.
And so I struggled a little bit with depression over that time, took quite a bit of time off. And
they were quite close.
Yeah, really close. Yeah, really close. And decided that I needed to make that change. So literally, I started to look to say, well, what I want to do. I wanted to do consulting / coaching.
Yeah.
Which is when I found the Coaching Institute, looking for that process.
So what drew you to coaching and consulting? What was it?
I think because I've done consulting before, I liked helping businesses see potential for change and how they can improve things. And I liked the work that I did with countries, teams to win tenders. So we did some massive tenders, like $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Like tenders, when we might be spending $600,000 just on the tender process, and sort of work all that out.
Okay.
And yeah, I thought, okay, the coaching would help me as part of that consulting, and which is when I found the Coaching Institute. And actually, my foundation, the first training we did live back then.
Who was your trainer?
Matt Lavaz.
Yep.
And actually, Joe Parnay was my trainer. And that was actually that weekend, which I did my Fox, which was the end of June, was also the last day that my full-time job.
Is it really? It's the exact same day?
It's the exact same day, yeah.
So you left your full-time job and you did your training, and that was...
Yeah, that next day I was basically full-time coaching. And what I didn't realize was that after joining the coaching institute, I spent the next 9 months working on myself. I came to coaching institute looking for skills, and actually found that I needed to work on myself, work on those emotions, and letting those emotions show rather than, like a lot of guys, bottle them up.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Paul, but when I said, I felt like I had my shit together. And then I kind of realised, actually, no, I don't. And the more I went into it, I was like, no, I really don't.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, I completely still don't, but...
Yeah. And one of the things that I remember vividly about that first weekend was that Joe said that if to do coaching as a business, go and join a BNI. So that was part of what they would say on those weekends. So I had those in the back of my mind. And the next year I joined BNI.
Yeah, so you've been in BNI for 8 years?
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, to get back to how do I link into trades, initially, when I started my business, I thought, okay, executive coaching, working with CEOs and managing directors on those sort of 1% accountability, handing board type things, which I knew that I didn't probably have nailed down as much as I should when I was CEO.
Yeah.
Although I was lucky to have some great chairmen and boards over that time. But once I got into that, I actually didn't enjoy it. I found a lot of the people that I was working with was big egos, and it wasn't having the impact that I wanted. But what happened was, what I was seeing when I was in that BNI group, so for those that don't know, BNI is a business networking group where we meet weekly and help each other to get referrals.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you cover BNI in previous podcasts.
Briefly spoken about some things, but building referral relationships.
Yeah. And what I was seeing was that we would get tradies coming into the room, joining the group, be there for about a year, get lots of work from the group because it's such an easy referral. And then when they were leaving because they couldn't manage the growth. So I started working initially back then with an electrician, Joel from, I can't think of his business name. That's pretty bad. He was in his 20s, one guy with him and an apprentice, helped him to grow his team. So he grew his team up to 4, got him off the tools completely, and grew $1 million business.
Really?
So
you got him off the tools, grew $1 million business in his 20s.
Yeah. And really changed his life. He went from basically having a pretty good income to paying off his house.
Wow.
And having an investment probably.
But by what age? So
28.
Oh, 28?
Yeah.
When did you start working with him?
I was working with him for a couple of years. Yeah.
Wow. And in that period, that's impressive.
Yeah. And to me, that's huge impact, right? Like changing people's lives at that age.
Yeah.
And I did that quite a few times. I worked with builders and plumbers.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Well, I connected with them. Like,
is that because of your trade background?
I think it's partly because of the trade background, and partly because I knew how tradies learn. We don't learn by sort of watching or do something on the board.
Yeah.
We learn by hands-on, by doing. And that's how I coach. It's by doing. I walk them through things. I get them to do things. And it's also they're a sponge, because as traders, there's no education for traders on business. They're great trades. They're great craftsmen at what they do.
Yeah.
But when they start their own business, they still treat it as being a technician, not as a business owner.
Yeah. Okay.
And giving them then the skills that they need to do business. But most of them are great leaders already, because typically they might come from Philly. I know your background's Philly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my footy mates were trades.
Yeah,
heaps of them.
100%. Yeah. And so they learn a lot through footy clubs. They learn about leadership, being in the team environment.
Yeah.
So they've all got a bit of head start on that side of things. But there's so many other areas of business where they've got no idea.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, so it was Joel, that first real, that's I didn't know that one. That's an impressive testimony there.
Yeah.
What did you do to help him get his business to that where he was off the tools and he was able to pay down the mortgage? What did you do?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I ended up working with 4 or 5 trades, and it actually worked. It was the same things I was doing with each and every one of them, which how I came to write the book.
Just to get off the tools was
the first tools. That's the first book. That book, I mean, so I left school at 16. English was not one of my main subjects. And so I wrote that book 5, 6 years ago.
So you weren't great at English.
No, I shot them.
Multiple books down. Yeah. You love writing, and that's one of your favourite things to do.
Yeah. And back then, so how I wrote that book was literally took my experiences on what I was learned through working with the trades and seeing consistently what were the things we needed to work on. Actually, was quite an easy book to write. And how I do it was I actually spoke so to the audio.
Yeah.
And then I got an editor to actually make it into sentences.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. And then I got another guy to basically put it into a design, etc. So it took quite a long process. It took probably a good 6-9 months for that whole process to work. But actually run the book probably took me 3 months. Now it's a lot easier with AI to do that process. But back then it was quite a bit of work to do. But I knew from my marketing background that having something that shows you as an authority, that shows that you know what you're talking about.
Key person of influence.
Yeah.
Daniel Priestley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that, I mean, I've revised the cover a little bit now. The first cover was horrendous.
It's a good cover, actually.
Yeah, it's
because this is the only one of yours I haven't read yet.
Right.
Like from the original.
Yeah. It probably needs rewriting again now. So those,
it's a great name, though. Get off the tools. Yeah. It speaks straight away to trades.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's I wanted, and you'll see, especially with these 2 books, it really is about the title. Really does sort of say what the book's about.
Yeah, and I love that as well because you know what you're going to get.
Yeah. And Get Off the Tools was probably it was my main program for many years, probably leading into COVID. And what it was basically a 6-month program where I covered the key components. And to go back to your question, those components were sort of finance, because that was the big one. I would see a lot of trades, even guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s that really still didn't know whether they were making money. A lot of them weren't paying themselves properly and regularly, and a lot of them were struggling with ATO debt.
Yeah, so they just didn't have, obviously technically really good, but didn't have the financial aptitude and education.
Yeah, but again, because there's no training. Unfortunately, the system is really screwed up. I approached the apprenticeship companies that do the training. They're not interested in teaching business because their funding comes from the business owners, and the business owners don't want them learning those things as part of their apprenticeship. There is some training that's linked to, so like if you want to be a builder or a carpenter. But unfortunately, again, those trainings around finances were a structure in a way that it's taught the same way as accountants learn finance, which is, it's really not the best way for trades to learn.
For anyone, except for an accountant. Yeah. It's not practical.
No. And also it's the wrong information delivered at the wrong time in the wrong way. Trades, when they start their business, all they want to do is go out and make money. They want to get out and get off the tools and make the money for themselves rather than from their business owner. So it's just setting the system up for failure, unfortunately. Finance was one of the key ones. Goal setting and planning was another one. We work on systems, human behavior. eDISC, I know you know about eDISC, but for me that was
What's
probably...
your profile, by the way?
Can you guess?
Well, I imagine we're probably quite similar. I'm going to say CS.
Yeah, SC. Almost 50-50. I redid it actually about a month ago, and I think I'm 5% more S. Mother archetype and detail.
There we go. We're the exact same. I'm 50/50 SC as well. So probably more leaning on the S, slightly a bit more. So
and then it's overgeneralization, but a lot of trades have a lot of C energy because it is that detail orientated side of things.
Yeah, okay. So you incorporated that as well. So
I wish I'd known that when I was running the wine company about human behavior.
Yes.
Because how to understand how different personality types and energy levels interact and work, how to think, and how to talk to them to help to motivate them as well.
Okay, so in the Get Off the Tools, so there's the finances, there's the goal setting and the planning, there's the human behavior. What else?
Systems.
On the systems.
Systems is a good one.
And
a little bit on sales and marketing. It's not usually something that has to be covered in. The other one is recruitment around. When I talk about recruitment, it's more about, okay, what are what's the values that people have that you want to have into your business? Because we see a lot of trades that hire and they're wrong fit.
They're high on skills, but not the value match.
Yes, 100%. So I talk about when you're hiring, 100% you're hiring on the values and the alignments. Because you can teach them on the skills. You can't. Can you swear on these things?
Yeah, you can swear.
If someone's a dickhead, they're always going to be a dickhead. You can't actually change that. And so, you want to get the right person who fits the culture that you want in your business. And then your sales and marketing, which is more an afterthought to really once you start. And one of the big fears that a lot of trades have is when they're looking at hiring is whether they're going to have enough work when they hire someone. So having that work on sales and marketing just adds to how they can actually grow their business on that side.
Okay. So I'm curious to know, if we're going back to the Joel, just because using that story, what were the key things that really turned it around for him in that period of time? Because obviously there's multiple things in the Get Off the Tools. Was there a couple real key things?
Finance is always a key one.
So what did you do with him regarding
and this is where my second book, Profit in Your Pocket, came. So
love that, by the way. That's one I have read.
So and initially in Get Off the Tools, and this is why it needs updating, I talked about and I got a mental blank again, Profit First system, which with everything I've learned over the years, all the books I've read, I'm always looking for ways to sort of support and help people in their journey. And there's a lot of great content out there that doesn't need reinventing.
Yes, agree.
That you can take and model to get the best outcome for your client. So when I was first starting out with Get Off the Tools, I'd used models that already existed and that already knew around sort of how to do goal setting. Finance, to say Profit First was a great system, or Barefoot Investor, or for me, it's going back to my childhood and seeing my grandfather bringing his pay packet home, giving it to my grandmother, and she would have envelopes for the utilities and for a holiday fund. Old school. And that's basically all it is. But and over the years with Profit First, it's a great structure, but wasn't quite right for trade.
And that's what I'm curious to know, because I'm a big fan of Profit First as well. But and I know every industry is different. So how do you need to tweak that system for the trade industry?
So for trades in particular, it's simplifying things to a point where it makes it easy to use without overcomplication.
Okay.
So for trades, really the key for any trade is knowing what your gross margin is. If you know what it costs you to provide a service, and
so this is after your cost of goods sold. Gross margin?
So gross profit margin. So it's sales less your cost of goods, which is all of your labor for your team, your materials, rubbish removal, etc. So only the expenses which are specifically linked to doing a job. So
that's what's quite unique, I feel like, in trade and construction industries, because you do have the COGS.
A
lot of other businesses, a lot of ones I don't work with, don't really have COGS.
No, and unfortunately, a lot of the accounting software is designed for accountants and the ATO. It doesn't really focus on those costs. So sometimes it could be quite hard to actually draw out those costs. And especially if you're a sole trader, you're paying yourself through owner's drawings. They don't show up in the profit and loss at all.
Yeah.
One of the big challenges and one of the big questions that a lot of traders used to say was that they go to account at the end of the year. The account says, you've had a great year, you made this amount of profit, here's my bill and here's your tax bill.
Yeah.
And the first question that's, well, okay, I made all this profit, where's the money?
Yes. Yeah.
There's none in my bank account.
Yeah.
And it's because the way the system's set up, which it makes sense from a taxation perspective, but it makes absolutely no sense from a management perspective, from an operations perspective.
Yeah.
So, and the way I create a system is not, it's not something that a lot of accountants like because it doesn't fit in their boxes.
Yeah.
But it makes management of your business and knowing what your costs are, what you need to be making, really easy to understand. With that based on bank accounts as well.
I'm curious, because in that system, because I'm seeing the traditional profit first system, and guys, I haven't done an episode on this before. If you're not familiar with it, or read the book, highly recommend. I guess they have the OPEX accounts, operating expenditures. For the trades one, do you break that into like the direct and the indirect costs? Is there two separate ones? Or?
No, so basically the 5 bank accounts that we have for profit in your pocket is we have an income account, so all your money goes in, but nothing comes out of that. We just transfer out of that.
To take where it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the best way, the analogy which Mike Michalowicz in Profit First talks about is like if you're on a diet, you basically reduce your portion size first. So rather than having the whole cake, all your money in one basket, we break it down to smaller baskets. So so we have an OPEX account, really is for all of your operating expenses, so all your materials, all of your overhead costs, all of your loan costs. Then we have a wages account for yours and your team's wages.
Okay, because that's separate.
Yeah, because it's such a big part of a trade-based business and such a large portion of all the costs. And your most important asset, right? So you need to make sure you're paying yourself and your team. We have a tax account. And I don't split that and say I have tax, so income tax, GST, and super within that account, and then the profit account. So income, OPEX, wages, profit, and tax are the 5. So keep it really simple. And the key component is that once you know what your gross margin is for the profit, what's left over from doing the jobs, then, so for instance, if your gross profit margin is 35%, so after you take out your materials and wages and any of those direct costs out of your income, that 35% has to take into account your overheads or your costs to keep the lights on, your tax, your loans, and your profit. Those are the 4 things that have to come out of that. So the key component with profit in your pocket is, okay, well, we'll actually work out what your loans is as a percentage of income. And so you know what that comes at. You know what your overheads as a percentage of income is. And typically your income tax is roughly 3 to 5% as a percentage of income. It can vary a little bit, but that's as a guide. Like if you're working on that, you're going to be pretty close. So you know exactly. Okay, well, if we've got 35% gross profit margin, if my overheads are 40%, it doesn't add up. And so we know that basically those overheads, tax, loans, and profit need to equal what that gross profit margin is. So just taking the guesswork out of that, and then it makes it really easy to work out, okay, what do I need to actually charge? And what's that gross profit margin that we need to make from the jobs we're doing to make sure that we're profitable?
And I imagine that would give a lot of clarity to the businesses that you work with and the trade.
It's a huge effect. I was just working with a painter recently, the most awkward, down-to-earth guy you would ever meet. Been in business, I think, for 4 years, never paid himself a penny. He just couldn't work his money out. Now he's got money put aside. He pays himself regularly, pretty much most weeks. And for the first time, he's been able to rent a house for himself, and he's putting together a deposit to buy a house.
Wow, that's massive.
Yeah.
And it's life-changing
Yeah.
type work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having a meaningful impact on someone's life.
Yeah. And it's the same with I see a lot of trades that have got pretty extensive ATO debt. And to be able to turn that around and actually get them in a short period of time, can have a huge effect.
And that's obviously a core component of getting them off the tools.
Yeah. Because if we haven't got the finance right, you can grow any business, but if it's dog shit at the start, all you're doing is growing a bigger piece of dog shit, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get that bit right first.
And is that why? Because I see your content and stuff as well. So revenues, a lot of people brag about revenue, and it's kind of showing off a bench press, but it's profit.
Yeah, you can have a multi-million-dollar business, but if you're not making profit, it's pointless, right? And I'm very much a believer that we actually want to create a business that gives us the lifestyle we want. And to be able to do that, you need to make profit. You can pay, you're able to pay yourself a wage and pay yourself regularly and a good wage. Yeah. It's the wealth creation, which is the really game changer.
Yeah, you speak my language, Paul.
Yeah, I know. I really love that.
Yeah. So is this the type of conversations you're having with your clients as well around, what actually is this lifestyle that you want to use?
Yeah. Yeah. We always start there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it really makes a big difference when they're working out, well, do you actually want to build a multi-million-dollar business with 20 vans on the road?
Yeah.
For the lifestyle you want to create? Because if your lifestyle you want to create is I want to spend more time with my family and have more holidays and be financially independent, 20 vans on the road probably isn't going to be the result you want.
And that's what's like, we're quite often programmed as business owners just to think about revenue and scale and growth.
Yeah.
You don't really think about, well, actually, what does the lifestyle look like that I want to live? And I feel like a lot of times we have this perception that we need a much bigger business or need much more in the bank to actually live that than what we actually do.
Yeah, I learned this firsthand. When I first started with the wine company and like in the early years, we were making really good profit. But as we grew the size of the team and the infrastructure we needed, yes, we probably 5 times our revenue. The actual profit didn't really grow. Actually, probably went backwards a little bit, and that was the learning curve.
5 extra revenue, but the profits actually slightly went backwards.
Yeah,
that's a good lesson for people listening who may be in business.
Yeah, you like just making more noise and having more things on definitely doesn't always mean that you're more successful.
And other than dialing in those bank accounts and getting the finances right, to get someone off the tools, that's their aspiration. What's the other key ingredient to really get there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things, but probably the biggest key and it's self-leadership is really the key to any business owner getting the results they want. I talk a lot about busyness compared to business.
Yes.
It's really easy to be busy.
Yes.
But are you actually focusing on the right things? And self-leadership will help you do that a lot. One of the byproducts of a lot of the work I do with traders is about confidence.
Is that right?
Yeah. The business owners I work with, their level of confidence increases the more we work together because their knowledge increases. And so their confidence increases as well. So through basically feeling more comfortable talking about numbers or talking about sort of how to grow the business.
It's a big scary point for a lot of people. Because I always used to have this perception that if you're in business, it must mean like you're really good with finances and numbers and stuff. That was always my perception.
Yeah.
And then as I started to spend some more time in rooms with business owners and stuff, it really opened my mind. Like, actually, a lot of these people are great at what they do, but the finances and the numbers actually really scares them. That revealing to me, I had no idea. Like, I really did have this perception that all business owners are great with money.
Yeah.
But I've come to learn not so much. Great that there's people like yourself doing this type of work because it makes a big difference. And a lot of the times, say, an accountant, they don't always have the time to really sit down and get into the nitty gritty and really teach people.
Mm.
Well, I'm sure you've probably
Yeah.
seen that before.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, it's not their role to
No,
educate
that's right,
business
it's not.
owners.
No.
I think business owners think they should do.
Yeah.
But the one thing you also got to remember is that they talk a different language.
Yes.
Trading language and accountant language is quite different.
Yes.
And what I've found, especially since launching Profit in Your Pocket, the book and the program, was that traders actually fall in love with numbers because of what they're learning.
Is that right?
They're more engaged with the numbers. They see the importance of the numbers, and they ask better questions of bookkeepers and accountants. So it actually brings them together, because quite often traders don't value accountants and bookkeepers because they don't understand the numbers. Once they understand the numbers, they actually value the services more.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I feel like you've got to have a level of financial aptitude so that you can ask the right questions to the professionals you've got around you.
Yeah.
So it's great that you do that work. Yeah. Okay. And is there any other things to help them get off the tools? Because there's obviously certain steps in the book and in the programs, but even just thinking back to the Joel one, what were the other key things to really get him off the tools and do what he did at 28?
Yeah. It's a good question. Accountability is a big one. And that's probably one of the biggest ones that I've struggled with, to be able to transfer from working one-on-one with trades to group work.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just a trades thing though either. I think it's small business owners in general. We do get busy, we do get distracted, there's a lot going on. And to keep that accountability, to keep doing the things that we know that we need to do to get the results is so important, and having someone in your corner.
And so with Joel and the other people you worked with, that was, so the accountability to you, is that what you're saying? That was very important, because they knew that they're going to be catching up with you and there's certain objectives you're working towards.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like a personal trainer, you know, when you go on a fitness journey, they're going to keep you accountable. Yeah.
And there's also, there's a lot of things that they don't know, that they don't know. And I think because of my background, the years that I've spent doing pretty much everything there is to do in business in one form or another, and there's a lot of knowledge in my head that in the past it's been really hard to just say, oh, this, and this. And it's only through those conversations, the challenges that business owners are facing on a day-to-day basis, that then I can tap into that knowledge and experience, which is one of the reasons why the new book series, I've actually created that as book to try and extract a little of that knowledge and be able to put it on paper to leave as my life's work.
Yeah, and that's the King Paths series, isn't it?
The King's Order.
Oh, the King's Order, that's right. The King, which is a 5, is it 5?
Well, it's a 10-book series. At the moment, it's actually probably going to be 11 already. But the first five editions or 5 books of that series I've created now, which I've written just in the last 12 months.
So you've written 5 books in the last 12 months?
Yeah.
How does one do that?
Definitely technology has helped. AI has helped a lot for me in the process, because I'm still really bad at English. And the AI has helped with how to word things. So I know what I want to put down on paper, how I want to approach a particular subject, and it's definitely speeded up that process. And going back to a conversation before about fables and stories, I realised, and taking a step back, so I created a planner for trades about 3 years ago, and I wanted to have a book that went along with the planner to help with that accountability, help with that structure around like how do we sort of structure and build those habits to make sure that you're doing something that consistently ongoing when no one else is looking, because that was always the issue. As soon as I sort of stepped back, that accountability and that process went out the window.
So it's probably the other key with the accountability, the structure is what people lack.
And I struggled for I think the book to go along with that initial planner, it was in draft form for about 3 years. I just couldn't quite find the right angle to take to make it engaging. And the beginning of this year, I realized that I actually needed to create a story around it, create something that they could relate to, which is where the King's Path came about, which is a story about a shipbuilder, a craftsman named Tectimus, who through his journey became the king of Crete.
Is this a true story?
It's a mythology. It's
Okay.
myth based, but there's definitely structure around. Like I was lucky enough to go to Crete as part of a European trip this year. It may or may not have been part of the reason to go to Crete with the book, but
Tax deduction there.
yeah,
Purposes.
yeah. But there's definitely, he's seen as being the first king of Crete. So, the fact that he was a craftsman as well, like for me, created the perfect opportunity to grow that story around sort of how it relates to business.
Makes sense, because he started as this craftsman or as the technician, as we've been speaking of, but then he becomes this leader.
Exactly, yeah. And there may be a bit of a connection between sort of my journey from England to Australia and my journey from a craftsman as an electrician through to a business owner. And yeah, basically the whole idea with the King's Order is all about building your kingdom. Yes, it's talking about kings rather than kings and queens. It's really hard to sort of have that in a branding that works, but it works both for both sexes.
And is the King's Path series, is this for trade businesses, or is it for all businesses?
It's actually for all businesses, because even the Get Off the Tools and Profit in Your Pocket, although I wrote them specifically for trades, they're just as prevalent for any small business. And in fact, as part of the King's Order, I've rewritten Profit in Your Pocket into the King's Treasury,
is that right?
Which is more some of the naming conventions I use in the Profit in Your Pocket are made into more generic, so it does work. But it's the same. Most of the principles and the structures are the same. But what I wanted to do with the King's Order was that I've got so much knowledge and experience in my head that I actually wanted a way to actually get that out and put it into a framework that made sense with my logical brain of how to describe it for the different sections. So
has it been a therapeutic experience or a challenging experience doing all of this work, or an enjoyable experience?
It's been actually really enjoyable experience. And what I've learned through this experience is that I actually love being a creator. I love content creation.
Yes.
And that is my passion. And I think now with technology, it's mean that I can do that, where I think in the past, my lack of good education and especially English, English language and literature, it basically means that I really don't need to have that now.
I find it incredible that you struggled with English at school, didn't really like school, and now here you are with all these books under your belt.
Yeah, I never thought I'd write a book.
Yeah.
It was never on my radar.
Yeah.
But again, I recognise it's the initial books was really a great way to brand what I do, to help that authorities. But now it's more about, okay, well, I can use that to create that framework and that step-by-step structure to help businesses to say, okay, you want to be able to sort of create some goals around your lifestyle. Here's a process that you can follow with story around that as well to make it enjoyable.
I like that.
All the way through to sort of the day-to-day, whether it's finance or whether it's culture or building the team.
There's so much good stuff in there, and I have read that first one, The King's, which was a great, easy to read. There's even some pictures in there for and it's just lots of white space. I love when I'm consuming content, white space. It makes it easier to digest.
Yeah, and some of that was inspired by. There's a few books. Alex Hormozi. So basically, that's why the King's Order series is A4.
Yeah.
Based on that, I like the idea of that. Also, some of Russell Brunson's like drawings and sort of bringing a bit more fun in. It doesn't have to be text.
Yeah.
To be honest, that I've got a great branding guy who's like just insane, and he's helped me to create the books in a way that they are intriguing and interesting, and so you're not just reading words on a page.
Who's your brand guy?
Wayne Hayward from Brand Nation.
There you go, Wayne. If you're listening to this, good plug for you.
Yeah, no, Wayne's basically done all of my branding. I'm passionate about branding and about design, and again from a marketing background. And he's been instrumental with the development of my business and the books.
You know what I'm really excited about is, obviously, you said at the start of the recording that you're working on the facilitation and the speaking skills. I'm really excited that you're doing that because you've got so much good stuff in your head and in these books, and it'll be great to see you on the stages and sharing this message more at scale as well, because there's so much gold within what you've done.
Yeah, and a lot of it's been sort of leading to that. I wanted to be able to create a structure and framework around that I could then use with group coaching. Very much based around trades again, but more to cover everyone. I wanted to create a program where there's multiple ways of learning. So you've got the books that you and workbooks that you can work through. You've got the audio version, so there's audio versions for each of the books, and there's an online platform that you can work through to fill out the exercise that were in the books, and then you've got basically the group coaching and accountability sessions, and the community, so that it's a journey that you don't have to take alone. It's not about competition. It's about just there to support each other and make sure that no one's left behind. That we keep moving forward and we can get the results that each and every one of us want in our own ways.
Yeah, I like that. I like the collaboration aspect of it as well. Now, Paul, you've got so many great resources, so many great books. I'm curious to know, for the people listening to this, maybe perhaps the tradie, because we have spoken a lot about tradies as well. Maybe they're struggling financially, they're feeling busy but not effective. Where's the best point to start for them if they're into your work? What would you recommend?
Well, the books are an easy one, because I provide them everything in the books. There's not.
Which book would you start with? Is it Get Off the Tools or Profit in Your Pocket?
I'd probably start with Profit in Your Pocket.
Okay.
Mainly because it just by getting your finances right, everything else means you've got money to invest. I think every business owner needs support, whether you're getting that through books or through coaching or mentoring or training, just to cover the areas that you don't know. And that's a big one. And books, if you're a book reader, great. If you're not, get audio. I love my Audible. I'm always listening to books in the ute when I'm traveling around. It's a great way to sort of devour knowledge. And if you do the finance work first, then it's always worth having that conversation afterwards around sort of what those next steps would be.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put the links for those books in the show notes down below, because I'm sure there's going to be someone listening to this who's going to be curious and is going to want to get into these. And again, they're small, easy to read, actionable, practical books and steps. So, hey, Paul, I'm really excited that you've been here today and that we could finally have this conversation, because I really enjoyed getting to know more of your diverse background. I didn't realize there were so many gold nuggets that came out today, which I'm sure the audiences have enjoyed, and I've enjoyed just getting to know you on a deeper level. So really appreciate the work that you do. You're making meaningful change in people's lives, and the ripple effect of that is going to be massive as well. So I'm grateful for you, Paul, and I thank you for coming on the show today, and have to get you back on in the future.
No, I really enjoyed it. I can't believe the time's gone already. I think we could talk all day. I think
we're definitely in the flow zone, there. So we'll definitely get you back on for a part 2, and maybe we can unpack the King's Path series in a bit more detail, because there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks a lot.
All good, guys. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please make sure you share it with a friend, leave a 5-star review, give Paul a follow on the socials as well. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for investing your time and energy in today's episode of Money Mastery with Marshy. If you enjoyed this episode, If you received value from this episode, then click the subscribe button so you can be the first to know when new episodes drop. I look forward to speaking with you in the next episode.